Everyone, welcome back to another segment of the AWS 2023 End User Computing Innovation Day. We are here live in Seattle, Washington. My name is Jeff Marushak, one of your co-hosts. I'm a senior solutions architect on the DoD Air Force team, and my co-host is AM. AM, introduce yourself.
We're in Seattle right now?
Yes. Yes.
And it's 2023? Oh.
Yes.
Wow, I'm learning so much today, Gigi.
Welcome. Thanks for making it.
I'm I'm one of your hosts, developer advocate here at AWS. Gigi, you're the most important person here on this panel right now. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Gigi Behringer. I'm a senior product manager here at AWS within End User Computing. And I actually focus on Amazon Workspaces Core, which, in case no one said it today, which I'm 99% sure no one has said it today, it's our birthday. We announced Core this time last year.
We just had a cake from Brett, but he refused to bring a real cake, and I'm still kind of mad at him about it.
I didn't bring a cake. I'm sorry.
Nobody brought us cake.
I didn't know food was allowed in the studio. I'll bring it next time.
No, you can't. You can't bring food in the studio. That's how we get ants. So, yes. Gigi, earlier we talked to your friend, Andrew Kloman, and Andrew has now signed me up.
We asked him a bunch of hard technical questions, and he basically said Gigi will take care of everybody.
It's my favorite thing he
not
does.
Not only that, but he was like, "Hey, you're signed up now. You're an end user computing expert, AM, and your first assignment's a migration."
Perfect.
I don't know anything about it.
That's okay. I don't either.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Cool.
We're just winging
So we'll
it.
learn together?
Yeah. Let's learn from this.
We're going to talk about a cloud migration, right? We're going to
slideshow.
actually get into what that looks like.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about, migrations in general for virtual desktops, specifically on-premise to AWS with the value add of Workspaces Core, which I don't know if you've been following today. A handful of people from our organization here at AWS have been bringing up that Workspaces Core is valuable when it comes to migrations. Yeah. So we're going to dive into those challenges we see, and then also dive into, how Core helps. And I'm actually going to show a demo, too, of one of our great partners.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, just to paint the picture, an on-prem migration for VDI. So for example, let's just take VMware Horizon. Maybe an IT shop has investments in on-prem hardware, servers, a team specifically built around Horizon, licenses around Horizon, but they want to utilize the cloud and get all of the cloud benefits, elasticity, scaling out. Workspaces Core, now 1 year old, can help with that. Yes. So I wanted to set the stage for this migration that you're going to be talking to us about.
I feel like Andrew should have went with this guy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Anyways, so I think just to dive a little bit into that situation, what are those complexities we're seeing? I will note this is all customer feedback, as always at AWS. Yeah. We care most about customer feedback, and it was the reason we even created Workspaces Core. So we heard these challenges, and we wanted to make them better. First, I'm going to talk about those negatives, and then the positives about what's so great. Firstly, like you said, that complexity of being on-prem. You have licenses, you have people, you have hardware. If you wanted to, upgrade that hardware, you'd have to buy it first, and then slowly move things over while having everything duplicated. Moving to the cloud immediately makes that more financially, comfortable for anyone, but also makes it more seamless for your end users.
Yeah, what's interesting is some data centers, you think, there's server virtualization and there's just a whole bunch of hosts and everything is mixed together. But normally, the VDI environment are their own set of hosts. So you would have to upgrade that, buy that specifically. It's not just intermingled with everything else.
Exactly. Yeah, and those hosts are only going to be able to have X amount of end users logging in, especially if it's a busy time of year. In addition to that, I'm just going to hit these two other points real quick, and then we'll get into the fun stuff. But that staff that has to deal with those data centers.
I'm already having fun. Just
good.
You know.
Oh, good.
I don't know about him, but I'm having fun.
I told you guys yesterday, this has been my personality all week, that I get to hang out with you. So I'm just happy to be here.
I'm always having fun, but especially right now.
Yeah.
Good. That's the most fun of the day.
Yes.
But so those IT staff, right, they have to deal with they're going to have to deal with the physical hardware change, but then also the software change, and possibly also learning AWS. Like Andrew said previously in his session, Core is really there to be there for AWS users, but also end user computing specialists that maybe aren't AWS users. It kind of bridges that gap where your IT are still going to log into VMware to handle all of their desktops. They don't have to log into AWS and manage everything from there. That also, just on the final point, is going to help reduce that spending, like I said, because you're not over provisioning in order to, move people over.
Sure.
So since Andrew signed me up for this, Gigi, migrating a company, generally speaking, considering this complexity, how long do these things take?
They can take a long time.
Can they?
And I asked my coworkers.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah. I asked my coworkers, I was like, the notes say a long time. Like, no one's going to like that. Like, we got to give them something. And it just depends. And that's the classic solutions architect answer. That's a classic consultant answer. But it's true. It does depend. I will note that a particularly fun fact is the demo I'm showing later for Workspot. They can get you up and running from 0 to 100 in 45 days. They really they've got it down. They're so good at it, and they have a great customer success team that helps you. And we'll talk more about other companies that can help you as well. But it's definitely not an easy process, not a simple process or short.
Yeah, I can imagine if you're just maybe deploying brand new workspaces and a new client, that could be pretty easy. But if you're migrating desktops, My Document folders, you're migrating a bunch of stuff, you have to copy that data. It could take, so yeah, it depends.
It just depends. Yeah. And we want that end user experience for the people at your company to be comfortable. We want them to not even know that you're running on Amazon Workspaces Core at the end of the day. They just should come to work one day and everything is better for your IT staff and everything is the same for them. With maybe higher, even higher ratings of user experience.
And I can see a situation where maybe the VDI workstation you're logged into is running in Workspaces Core, but maybe your teammate has a Horizon desktop, and you guys wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Exactly.
And you don't need to or care to.
Yeah.
So a way to kind of burst your pools from Horizon into different various environments. I think that's valuable.
Yeah, and I actually think that's a good point to take a second on, right? It doesn't have to be from on-prem to AWS, and that's that. It can be you're on-prem for some workloads, you're on Workspaces Core for some workloads. You're on maybe one of our, good friends that are also based on the West Coast for some of them, and you're on us for some of them. All of that is flexible, and Core is just giving you an opportunity to have those VDIs that you love and your end users love.
Yeah, because I can imagine if there's a new workload, like graphics related, a CAD workload, you made a pool, you have maybe a new group using CAD, and maybe you're not ready to get off of your on-prem hardware, but you don't have any GPUs in that. So let's just make this one little pool of GPU-enabled devices with Workspaces Core. Bada bing, bada boom.
Exactly. And just in case anyone has tuned in and missed Andrew's session, I'd love to just quickly read our definition of Workspaces Core to our audience. That way,
perfect.
If you have any questions, in addition, our other PMs are in the chats for the live stream, so please hit them up with further questions. But in case you haven't checked out Workspaces Core yet, it's a API based off of Amazon Workspaces API, but it gives you that managed API for other VDI providers to run on top of. And so, like we've been talking about, you can run VMware, you can run Workspot, you can run LeoStream, and today, as some of you may have been listening, you can also run Citrix on top of Workspaces Core.
That was an announcement earlier. We just kind of announced that today.
Yeah, it was a big morning for us.
So, Gigi, is it fair to say if I'm bringing a partner like VMware or something to Workspaces Core, me as the implementer of that, I don't have to build anything. But if I'm building on top of the Workspaces Core APIs with something on my own on-prem without one of our partners, that's when I would then be building on those APIs.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and we're happy to help as well, as always, with all of our solutions architects and account teams that help our customers.
Nice.
So we've talked about Workspaces, Workspaces Web just recently, and now Workspaces Core. I've asked this question to everyone. Let's talk about pricing. How does pricing work, and is it really pay-as-you-go?
Yes, so it is really pay-as-you-go. Andrew went into the details in our previous session, so I don't have that in my slideshow prepared for you, but if you
Come
want
on,
to tune
man.
back into his, basically you're bringing your licenses that you already have on the VDI provider you have. You have a discounted cost for using the APIs on the Workspaces side from Workspaces Core. And all in all, we're seeing that to be less expensive. We're seeing it to be more productive and giving you more flexibility with those licenses you already bought.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm gonna keep moving through
we've
this.
We've got some. This is what we were talking about when it came to fully managed, right? And this like was across the board for a lot of the Workspaces services, but specifically with Core, what is fully managed or managed matters here?
Yeah, so I think fully managed, right? It's the same as that Workspaces API. It's essentially the same thing with a few added details. You're getting that pay-as-you-go. You're getting that desktop compute resourcing. Those two together, I consider like a nice pair of managed compute resources. So you're really optimizing on what you need. You're only paying for what you use when you use it. Andrew mentioned that really great use case of, putting something in cold deep freeze storage when someone leaves for paternity leave, possibly. There's other situations where, you're a consultant, and that came up earlier today, and you just want to use it for a short period. I think other pieces, that onboarding experience for Windows 10 and 11 with Workspaces Core, we have an image checker that'll help you get through that onboarding process for those.
Nice.
Those are my, I think, in addition to everything everyone else has said today, those are my kind of hits for this slide. Where things really change for Core specifically is with the control that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have that managed API that's, no different, like we said, than all the other services here, but we also have more control. Specifically, you're getting control with these, 6 differentiators. It's really giving you closed network control. So you have full control over the certification chain and the traffic control. That's really hitting home with some of our federal and government customers. That's something that's required. This is a sales pitch from me to Jeff.
Yeah.
I'll see you on Monday in a new meeting. but those things all of these different pieces here are going to give you, more control for those, government workloads, but then also no new ports required. So it's not going to be that, 12 months to get new ports approved within cybersecurity at, some of the government customers we work with.
Yep. Yes, I'm going through that right now. Yes.
What? You can't just open a port? Why not, man?
Yeah, just let it run. let's
open them all.
No,
don't do that. Don't do that.
That's a bad idea. But yes, so it gives you more control, and that's definitely one of our value adds.
The one thing you didn't you talked about, but the FIPS 140-2. If you know what that is, then it matters to you.
Exactly.
And that's very, very important, specifically for public sector and specifically the DoD. So that's very great to see that's being integrated here.
Yeah, and your life is a little better if you don't know what it is, and you don't have to worry about it.
I didn't say that. She said
Yeah.
Previous
I
public sector.
The new port, the no new port is similar, right? Like if opening a port takes 12 months wherever you're working, it does. That is a significant thing for you.
Yeah. So with all of this information, right, it's a lot to process, but also a lot to, maybe onboard onto, which is why we have, our integration partners that I already mentioned, our lovely virtual desktop partners, Workspot, VMware, LeoStream, and Citrix. But then we also have our service partners. And
what's the difference here?
The names aren't great. We should have probably separated integration partners and service partners a little better. Service partners are going to be those consulting firms that are, helping you install this, helping you get it up and running. These are a handful of them, but we actually have onboarded 15 into our program so far. We also are continuing to onboard. So if anyone ever comes to us saying we want to use XYZ, we're in there training them right away because we're just continuously expanding. Like we said, we're only a year old, and we've got a long ways to go with that onboarding.
So, for example, Comm Division would be, if you needed help deploying this, Comm Division would help you with some professional services.
Exactly.
Maybe. These are one of the. I live in the partner network, so this is one of the kind of fun things to learn about when you come work with the AWS Partner Network. Oftentimes, we designate partners between this ISV designation and consulting type of designation. Sometimes there's overlap though. Sometimes partners do both, right? Sometimes some partners will have an ISV offering as well as they do some consulting. So it just depends, right, on who. There's that answer again. It just
That's a good
depends.
one.
Just depends, yeah.
It's a
I'm
bad
stealing your essay answer over here. But yeah,
So integration is
integration typically means that's
Workspaces.
someone offering software, right?
Workspaces Core is integrated with these
with a
four
software
companies.
offering
Yes,
from one of these
service
companies.
partners would be someone who might help
Servicing.
you.
They're
But
going to come
Yeah.
set
I
it up
imagine
for you.
VMware is probably going to help you if needed. They
Right.
probably have professional services team that will help out with that as well.
Absolutely, and Workspot has a great one too. They all do really. Where it comes in is sometimes you have a preferred service partner,
Sure.
or you already are working with an account team at one of our 4 integrations.
Or let's take it to the public sector. Maybe only certain people are on a contract, and you're kind of limited that way. So okay, cool.
Exactly. So it definitely gives, it helps, and it lowers that barrier to entry when you have the service partners helping you. And just to quickly touch on how Core helps with migration. So, right, those partners help, those integrations are important. How does Core make a difference in this migration process? And I'll show you this in the demo in a second, but you're getting the real value add from having that single control plane. You're not having to worry about AWS. You can look on your Workspot Control portal, or you can look on your Leo Streams, control plane, and just be working there, not having to worry too much about your AWS setup. That's going to give consistent user experience for admins, but also for your end users. Like we've said, none of this is groundbreaking. But then lastly, hitting that optimized spending, right? You're optimizing your spending with the ability to spin up, spin down. That's applicable in migrations, but it's also just applicable when you need graphics instances. And it all just makes sense.
And you're not necessarily throwing away previous investments.
Exactly.
Now you're going to actually show us this,
Yeah, let
right,
me show
Gigi?
you. Let me
Okay.
pull it up real
I
quick.
think I really do need to see it, especially if
I thought we were
since
going to see the demo slide, but she skipped over.
I skipped over.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Andrew signed me up for this migration, and I need to know.
Yeah. This pressing matters. All right, so we have my screen being pulled up now. Awesome. Here with the Workspot Control, visual, which
Okay.
is not a visual, it's a website. But
This
they
is
call it
Workspot,
Workspot Control.
right?
This is specifically
not AWS product. This is a separate company.
correct. Totally separate company. We have been working with them.
One of the integration partners.
One of the integration partners. Yes, so we've been working with them. I think we announced in February or March with them.
Okay.
And it's been such an awesome partnership because they really, I think, stick out in a few ways, which is why I wanted to show them today. Firstly, you'll see they just have such an ability to customize the desktops, customize the setup within the desktops. In addition to that, though, those admins that are in charge have more visibility into everything that's happening at a level that I am not really seeing yet. And from a lot of different virtual desktops that are offered, but then also getting feedback from their end users is something that they are big on, and that is something we're also not seeing a lot on the market yet. So it's just such an intuitive experience. Let me walk through real quick. Please ask questions in the
Yes.
chat. Please ask questions if you have any. The big points here, I think, are, right, you get this dashboard of everything that's happening. I'm actually just going to make this full screen to make it a little more pleasant for everyone because my messy desktop is hiding behind there. So I'm just going to hide my chaos. Anyways, so you can see here that you have a nice visual of what's going on, generally speaking. I think when we go to setup on that top piece, this is something worth noting. They have public cloud up in this top section and then the current private clouds. So I've set up quite a few different demos and just kind of random things going on here.
Okay.
Public cloud is going to be, AWS, maybe some others. I don't know. I don't know what you do in your free time, but public cloud is AWS. It's going to be those virtual clouds that you might work with. And then private cloud is something that you might have on-prem.
Sure.
So you're actually seeing everything in one place. You're not having to flip-flop between any of your cloud providers or your on-prem environment. It's just all right here for you to click into and see what's going on.
I gotta imagine that if you were in multiple regions, you would have an entry for each region on the public cloud.
I think so, yeah. I think it's, up to the user on how you want to go about things. I'll show you in a minute. There's a really nice map where you can see where all of your resources are in the world for one specific pool that you've created. So I think it can go either way. To quickly just go through a few high points here, configuration is going to be where you really get to customize a lot of pieces so simply, right? You just, you can choose your background. You can put in your support email that they can email if something's going on. We have access to that web client URL, and then we'll go over.
We can put Jeff's email in there.
Yeah.
For the support email.
Actually, I'll change it.
Yeah,
and then,
change it to Jeff's.
It's a good thing no one else is using these but me.
Oh, never mind.
So
never mind.
I'll just spam in my own free time. Yeah, exactly. And so you get more customization here. I'm going to flop over to our resources because I think that's where things get a little more interesting. You can see your managed cloud desktop pools. I'm going to click in. My dear friend Ivan made a pool for me.
Okay.
And this is something that any Horizon admin would automatically identify with.
Exactly. Yeah. So any Horizon admin, any admin.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be Horizon.
That's the one I just keep coming up with.
Yeah.
He's on this
Horizon's
Horizon
getting a lot
train.
of love today.
Yeah, I don't.
In this case, it'd be a Workspot admin.
Perfect.
Yeah. But so you can see all the different desktops here, the template that was used to create them, which is if you're in AWS land, you're a bundle with the Workspot agent downloaded on it. We can click into those. We can also create a new pool.
This goes along to what you were saying. Maybe you would create a pool with just graphics cards for specific use cases, or maybe a pool for just web applications, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, I'm gonna hop over to Workspot Watch real quick because I think that's where you'll see. So we have this ability to see everything that's going on within all of our Workspot instance or Workspot desktops, and you can see not only the messages that are coming in, but what users are rating there and what's going on. If there's anything happening, it's marked with an X that something bad happened. We got to check in on that. You can also look at these resources and see everything that's happened on them. And this is where that granularity comes in that I was talking about that I really love from Workspot.
Yeah, why is this so important to see this granularity?
So if you've ever had an issue with a virtual desktop, you'll immediately feel the sense of helplessness where you're like, why is this not working? It's not my job to make this work. I just need to get my job done. And then you have to talk to support, and support might have to talk to a different support person and dive deep. And what we have here is your admin can just go in and see everything that's happening.
I'm trying to help you out.
Gigi, you are just describing last week for me.
It's okay.
It's like you were watching. Were you monitoring these calls for quality assurance?
Actually, I do, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a favorite pastime.
All right, you just listen to them.
Just to monitor your calls.
Yeah. That's your
they
that's
really
your
do watch
meditation?
everything we do. Yeah,
okay.
It is actually my meditation to hear you feel helpless on a phone call.
Thank you. Specifically me.
Just you.
Yeah, just me.
Just you. Anyways, so we're gonna flip over.
Oh, this is really
We've
cool.
only got
the
a
map.
minute left.
Look at that.
Yeah, so we have this really great map. Yesterday I couldn't find, our country, but I found it today pretty easily. And it's just right here. You can see I only pulled them up in US East 1, but you'd see, all over the world where those desktops are. I'm going to hit one more thing real quick. Of course, I talked too much, so here we are rushing through a bit. But I think this is where things also get interesting. You can see your total users, your sessions that you've had, how many hours those are, but also the average use of them. And that's, that's helpful. That's great. Where things get cool is where you can see the end user experience reviews. And so here you're getting, and it'll load in a second, your average rating, as well as a lot
We gotta
of...
get those scores up.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Yeah, I gotta imagine it's pretty important to view trends during a migration to see
For sure.
Yeah.
where the hotspots are.
Yeah.
For sure. And even better is being able to see that average CPU, but you can get more granular. And I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to show you.
From the
but-
Workspaces side, from the AWS side, like I imagine this is really not that like exciting to look at. Not as exciting. It's just happening right in the
Be
background.
nice. What are you doing, man? She's our guest. Be
Yeah,
nice.
No,
I
I'm
think it's
saying because of the Workspaces Core API, it's just going and provisioning these things out in AWS. And from the console perspective, I probably am not really in the AWS console day to day as an admin. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that it is kind of exciting, but I think that's fair. I also think that within our current dashboard, it's actually pretty hard to see what the user experience is.
Right.
And so having that makes it hopefully an even less exciting day at the office.
Yes.
When you're trying to, help your end users and
that's
you
the whole
actually know
point,
what's going
right?
on.
That's the whole point, is to live in something like Workspot instead of having to live in AWS console
Yes.
constantly, right?
Exactly.
So Gigi, I heard you say we're running out of time.
Yeah,
You
we
won't
are.
show
We're
us-
overtime now.
We're over.
Because of that, you weren't able to show us some things, but it sounds like there's an opportunity for folks that want to learn more to see some of those details. Fill us in.
Yes. So Workspot knew I was going to run over, actually. And so they scheduled a follow-up webinar, which will be on September 21st. They're going to do a deep dive with engineers on the call, with PMs on the call, to go over more about how Workspot works, how it works with Workspaces Core specifically. And we'd love to see you guys there.
All right. Go sign up. And in the meantime, stay tuned for more here at End User Computing Innovation Day. We'll be right back.